Hello there. Let's get into this. I'm going to read a couple page here or page there of this awesome book. I'm going to comment on it. You can comment on it, and I'll comment on your comments. Let's get into this. This book is amazing. It's called Apprenticed to a Himalayan Master, a Yogi's Autobiography by Sri M. So good. So if you're into this, let's do this. I'm just going to read a few passages and maybe a couple pages, and let's see how it goes. This is part four of the reading of this book. All right, let's get into this. Let's do this. Are you ready for this? Okay, we left off at that sentence. The party moved on. The music faded away slowly, and a strange silence took over. My grandmother did not approve of what I had done, but I was left off after being given a little bit of religious advice. Let off. Many years later, I came to know that the ecstatic man I had seen was Swami Abhedananda. Abhedananda. Okay, I think I've heard of him. Swami Abhedananda. I think he might have been mentioned in Autobiography of a Yogi, the by Yogananda, Swami Abhedananda, or I don't know where I've heard of that name, but I've heard of it. If anyone knows about Swami Abhedananda, put it in the comments. Swami Abhedananda, who lived in an ashram not very far from where I lived. As a college student, I had many pleasant encounters with him, but more of that later. Maybe I heard of it from this book because I already listened to it on Audible. It could have been that. Let's get into it. Around this time, my mother's material uncle, who was a keen photographer, took me to see the Aratu festival inside the East Fort. The old fort, was built by the Maharajas around the grand temple of Anatha Padmanabha Swami. Sorry for mispronouncing certain things. Their tutelary diet, as I mentioned earlier. Oh, my cat's asking for attention. Edmond. Hi. How's it going? Hi. Edmond. Edmond. Sorry. Hi. Hi. How you doing? All right. Where was I? As I mentioned earlier, Trivandrum's original name, Thiruvananthapuranam, sorry again for that mispronunciation, is derived from the name of his deity, who is described as one from whose navel grows the lotus. Interesting. Lotus chakra. Every year, the compound of the temple is decorated with festoons, flowers, lights, and the entire Hindu Parthenon is on display in the form of life-size or even bigger idols, complete with colorful costumes and jewelry. As I gazed at the Gopuram towers of the ancient temple, something seemed to stir inside my navel, and I was seized by an irresistible urge to go inside. Although At that age of 6 or so, I had no idea what was inside the temple. My mother's uncle said that we would not be allowed in because we did not belong to the Hindu religion. Hmm. Very interesting. I remember clearly his pointing to the white painted signboard and reading the Malayalam in and English, no entry for non-Hindus. Oof, that's harsh. The differentiation between the two communities consisting of the same human beings thoroughly puzzled me. At the same time, I had no option but to accept defeat and return. How was I to know that then that as time passed, I grew older, I would see terrible communal divides that religious zealots brought about between humans being in the name of religion. In the name of religion? Question mark. My mother's uncle got me uh, peppermints. Ooh, peppermints to cheer me up and took me to the southern gate of the central uh, secretary building, 4 kilometers away. There, not far from the entrance, a slightly plump man with graying hair and an unshaven, pleasant face was lying on a cot, bare-bodied except for the Kerala mandu, which covered the lower half of his body. He spoke to me softly, shook hands, and gave me a sweet. He said that he was happy to see me wearing red shorts. I came to know later that he was the veteran c- communist? No, communist leader, aka Go Plan. I don't know if it's communist, Go Plan, who was on a fast into death protest against the Congress. How are you liking it so far? Let's do this. Let's do this. Government of that time. My mother's uncle, who had leftist learnings, had taken me to visit the communist leader, whom he held in high esteem. Perhaps there was some magic in Mr. Gopalan's soft eyes, or his gentle touch that drew me to Carla Marix and Das Capital in my college days. Speaking of magic, I also distinctly remember the magical moments I had. Magical moments. Magical moments I had on many an evening sitting in the backyard of my house and looking at the clouds. Oh yes. That's always a fun time. Chilling, looking at the sky. Oof, love looking at the sky. To my imagination, they appeared to be snowy peaks waiting to be discovered. Much later, when I saw a picture of the Himalayas in a coffee table book, I said to myself, haven't I seen them before in clouds, sitting in the backyard of my house when I was barely 6? To conclude this chapter, there is a story my master told me as I sat with him in a quiet spot on the banks of the river Bhagirathi, as it wound its way down the Himalayas. I think it would be relevant to say now, before we go to the next chapter of this journey, As I would like to repeat what the master said to me, draw your own conclusions from the story I'm going to tell you, but don't be in a hurry to do so. Yeah, it's a wild journey, a wild adventure. This book. Draw your own conclusions, but don't do it too quick. You got to go through the book. I think that's what he's saying. I could be totally wrong, but like saying, don't jump to conclusions. Keep reading and then digest it. Digest it for a while. Behind the famous temple of Badrinath, the sacred Himalayan shrine that stands 13,000 feet above sea level, there exists a few large and small caves perched on top of nearly inaccessible cliffs. The temple is open to pilgrims only during the summer months. The rest of the year, the whole year is snowbound. The whole area is snowbound. Even the Nambarudiri priests of Kerala who have been officiating uh, there since the time of Shankaracharya, a saint who renovated the temple hundreds of years ago and was himself from Kerala, go down to the village of Joshi Mut and wait for the next season. Only a few extraordinary beings continue to live and meditate in the caves, even during the winter. So I guess once the snow comes, they're like locked in for the winter, and it's off bounds for out of bounds for everyone, even including priests and whoever, not priests, but monks or something. But a few people do stay there. That's kind of cool. I heard of a similar thing. There's a Shiva Lingam somewhere in where is it? Quebec, which is where I'm staying right now. There's a Shiva Lingam, but you can only go there in the summer, I think, because the snow comes and all the paths up the mountain are blocked, and it's totally sealed off. Or I mean, for most people, uh, maybe everyone. I don't know where that is. One of my friends, this girl, this lady, she she told me about it. Somewhere in Quebec, Shiva Lingam, up some hill, some mountain. Seems pretty cool. I actually got to see a real Shiva Lingam, some Hindu temple, a couple weeks ago. It's pretty cool. I got to touch it. Felt a little bit of you know, a bit of a tingle from it. I felt a little bit of a tingle, like when you lick a battery, kind of a little bit like that. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. 100. Where were we? 100 years ago, one such extraordinary yogi sat in one of the caves, bare-bodied except for his cotton loincloth, absorbed in deep meditation. He was fair and handsome, with flowing black hair and a black beard. And while his eyes were closed, a peaceful smile lit his face. As he enjoyed the inner joy of soul communion, this young yogi, who was just 19, came from the distinguished family of Vedic scholars from the holy city of Varanasi. Oh, Varanasi. There's some very cool, creepy, amazing, awesome stuff going on there. The city of death, I think they call it, in a good way. Varanasi. I'd like to go there one day for sure. See the festivals and Maybe meet a gory or something. Actually, it would be a cool place to like die, you know? Like when you know you have 2 or 3 days left of your life. They say everyone, I think, it could be totally wrong, but I think people go there to die because it's like a sacred place where if you die in that area, your soul is more. It's a good place to die. It's like your soul is taken care of better. I could be wrong though. That could be not the right city. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, in the comments. His ancestors be had been disciples of a legendary yogi called Sri Guru Babaji. Oh, I think that's not the guy that he talks about here. I think his guru is Babaji, and this is Babaji's guru. It's like it had the same name, you know. I think I could be wrong. Who it is believed has maintained his physical body and a youthful condition for many hundreds of years. Even to this day, this young man's father, himself a disciple of Sri Guru Babaji, had handed over his son to the great yogi at the tender age of 9. Since then, he had wandered with his teacher, who had no fixed abode, the length and breadth of the Himalayas. A year ago, at the age of 18, he had graduated to the level of an independent yogi, and since then had been wandering alone amongst the snow-covered peaks of Kedar and Badri. While our young yogi sat perfectly still in the yogic state called samadhi, a strange dharma was unfolding before his closed eyes. Crawling his way up the steep rocky ledge, an old man of the kind rarely seen in those parts pulled himself up on to the flat rock in the front of the cave. His dirty green turban and soiled robe, now almost torn to shreds, the rosary around his neck, and his hanged beard clearly indicated that he was a Muslim fakir. Fakir? There were cuts and bruises all over his arms, legs, and other exposed parts of his body, and blood oozed from his wounds. Cold and hungry, he was on the verge of collapse. But as soon as his eyes fell upon the young yogi sitting in the cave, okay, so it was a guy climbing the mountain, and he was all messed up and near death, kind of, or just very sickly, and he was trying to find this yogi, a yogi that was deep in samadhi, probably in the same spot for several days or weeks, unmoving, completely unmoving. So you have a messed up guy trying to find a yogi. I think that's the scenario. On the verge of collapsing, but as soon as his eyes fell upon the young yogi sitting in the cave, the pained expression on his face was replaced by a smile, which expanded into a hysterical laughter. Praise be to Allah, he cried. Okay, so the guy looking for the yogi, he was a Muslim, and the yogi's a yogi, Hindu, I'm guessing. He cried, and with a deep sigh, forgetting all his pain and suffering, he moved towards the still meditating yogi and fell prostrate. He then did something no Hindu would ever dream of doing to a yogi. He hugged him. The yogi, crudely shaken out of his trance, opened his eyes and shook off the old man, who was clinging to his body. He blew his nose to clear the stench that came from the traveler worn and bleeding body of the strange creature, and shouted in anger, "How dare you? Keep away from me!" Anger, that powerful poison that is sometimes difficult to control, even for rishis, had entered this young yogi's heart. So I'm not sure, but I think that the yogi, the main character in this book, Sri M, I think this is him in a past life. He's the yogi in this past life, and he behaves badly to a Muslim, and yeah, I think that's the case. It doesn't actually. I don't think it actually says, but yeah, I think for sure that's it. That's what happens. But there's more to the story. But wait, there's more. Where were we? 100 years ago. Yes. Okay, I think I lost my place. This where are young? Yeah. Yes. Hindu. Yes, a Hindu would never dream of doing that to a yogi, especially a yogi that's in samadhi. You're never supposed to mess with them, because they're not there. They're like they're in a different kind of sort of a different dimension, different mental state. So even if you mess with them, they usually don't wake up. There's whole procedures of how to like wake someone up out of a samadhi state if they're really deep in one, proper ways that aren't isn't rude, and sometimes you can't wake them up. They're in their state. I think if you just shake them, they'll wake up generally, but it's extremely just nasty to do that if someone is in a deep samadhi state. There's very specific ways you slowly kind of bring them out. Yeah. The yogi, crudely shaken out of his trance, opened his eyes and shook off the old man who was clinging to his body. Right. Anger. Anger had entered the yogi's heart. "Please, sir," pleaded the fakir, "give me a chance to tell you my story." "Go away," said the yogi. "I need to have a dip in the alakanda and resume my meditation." He has to go take a dip in the river. Your kind of person, a meat-eating barbarian, has no place here. Get lost." The fakir would not give up. "Please listen to me, O great yogi. I am a Sufi, and I'm the chief disciple of a great Sufi master of the Naqshbandariya order. Just before my master passed away 6 months ago, he told me, 'Friend, you have now reached the level of spiritual attainment that I was able to take you to. I'm leaving my body soon, and there is no Sufi master at this point who is willing to guide you to the next and higher level. But don't worry, there lives a young Himalayan yogi near Badri in the Himalayas. Find him and seek his help. You are the one he referred to. and you alone can save me now. For 2 months I have suffered incalculable travels and misfortunes before finding you. I might drop dead due to exhaustion, but just accept me as your disciple and my soul will depart in peace. Please, I beg you. I know nothing about your master or the Sufis, as you call them. I have received no such instruction, and moreover, I don't accept disciples, said the young yogi, still angry. Now move out of my way and don't delay me from having my bath in the Alka Alkananda and resume the meditation that you so rudely interrupted. Get out. All right, oh great yogi, said the fakir. If that's if that is your final word, I don't wish to stay alive anymore. My life is only my life's only dream has been shattered. I shall jump into the river and take my life. May the Supreme Lord of the universe guide me. Do what you want, said the yogi firmly. But I can do nothing for you. You are lucky that in my anger I did not curse you. Go your way and let me go my way. The fakir bade farewell by prostrating at the yogi's feet and with tears in his eyes. Made his way to the river that flowed several feet below. With a prayer on his lips and seeking guidance from a supreme being, he plunged into the swirling waters and ended his life. So there's a bunch more. I think what happens is the young yogi's his master appears to him and goes, "You fucked up big time," and then he gets him to kill himself, his master, or something like that. Anyway, it gets more spicy. Uh, if you're getting any joy out of this or whatever, like and subscribe. And so this is episode 4, so there will be more in episode 5. If you're curious about what happens next, subscribe, bell notification, and we'll find out what happens next. This book is really, it's a really it's a fun journey. I'll tell you that much. It's a very fun journey. So I think that the guy, the autobiography about this one guy, Sri M, I think he was that yogi in this little story here, and he was a jerk, and then his master came. Well, I think I'm not sure exactly how it goes. I could be wrong, but I think that's Sri M in his past life. I don't think it says it, but hints at it maybe. Anyway, that's it. If you enjoyed, there'll be another episode coming right around. Look forward to episode number 5. And peace.